Almost invisible at first, these tiny pests quietly tear through crops, homes, and ecosystems worldwide. This countdown breaks down how mites, termites, aphids, and other small insects create massive losses, turning millimeter-sized bodies into destruction that spreads across farms, cities, and forests. Level 1, Grain Mites. These mites show up where food is supposed to be safest. Grain mites attack stored supplies long before anyone sees movement. Stored grain develops a sweet, dusty odor, and texture changes before contamination becomes visible. Grain mites measure even tinier than a quarter of an inch, yet they multiply fast in storage environments where temperatures stay above 68 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity crosses 65%. Their life cycle completes in 10 to 14 days, allowing population explosions inside silos, warehouses, and shipping containers. A single infestation can contaminate multiple tons of wheat, rice, or flour, forcing disposal due to allergen risk and spoilage. Storage operators report millions of dollars in annual losses globally, especially in regions with warm climates and high grain turnover. Grain mites rarely draw attention, but their role in food waste places them firmly among overlooked crop pests driving supply chain loss. Level 2, Clover Mites. Fresh lawns are often the first thing to give them away. These small bugs target the spaces people see every day. Clover mites begin damaging lawns before they ever enter buildings. Lawns lose color before walls start moving. Entire stretches of grass fade unevenly, then weaken beyond recovery. Clover mites measure less than 1/10 of an inch, yet infestations often involve hundreds of thousands clustering along foundations, sidewalks, and window frames. They feed by piercing plant cells and draining chlorophyll from turf grass, clover, and ornamentals. Landscape professionals report recovery times of 4 to 8 weeks, depending on infestation density and soil conditions. Indoors, crushed mites release pigments that leave permanent red stains on walls, carpets, and upholstery, increasing repainting and replacement costs. Eggs survive winter temperatures below 14 degrees Fahrenheit, allowing seasonal reinfestation across urban regions. While impact stays local, repeated bug infestations make clover mites an expensive problem in residential zones worldwide. Level 3, Book Lice, Saucids. They damage products without touching the food itself. Book lice thrive in storage areas where moisture stays high. Inventory systems flag the loss before eyes do. Pallets disappear from records, not shelves. Book lice thrive where humidity remains above 60%, feeding on mold spores, organic residue, and packaging fibers rather than food itself. Adults live 3 to 6 months, and females lay up to 100 eggs inside seams, bindings, and cardboard folds. Contaminated flour, cereals, grains, and pet food must be destroyed to meet safety standards. Warehouses report 6-figure losses per outbreak, especially in coastal and tropical regions. Libraries and archives face gradual fiber breakdown as paper weakens over time. With global shipping expanding, these destructive insects spread silently through cartons and pallets, extending their economic reach. Level 4, Fungus Gnats. Fungus gnats target roots, not leaves. These insects destroy plants from below the surface. Plants fail while leaves still look healthy. The collapse begins underground. Fungus gnat larvae feed directly on roots after females deposit 200 to 300 eggs in moist soil, compost, or hydroponic media. Larvae remain active for 2 to 3 weeks, chewing root hairs and soft tissue. Nutrient uptake drops by 30 to 50%, stunting leafy greens, herbs, and seedlings. Indoor farms and nurseries report sudden crop loss once infestations establish. Larvae also spread fungal pathogens, compounding damage inside enclosed systems. As controlled environment agriculture expands, fungus gnats rise steadily among modern crop pests linked to year-round production losses. Level 5, Leaf Miners. These live inside the plant itself. Leaf miners carve damage where sprays cannot reach. Leaves turn pale and translucent, as if burned from the inside. Leaf miner larvae tunnel between leaf layers, blocking photosynthesis while remaining shielded from surface treatments. Each female lays 200 to 250 eggs, creating sustained pressure once populations take hold. Spinach, tomatoes, beans, citrus, and ornamentals experience 20 to 40% yield reduction in affected fields. Cosmetic damage alone lowers market prices, forcing growers to discard produce that remains edible. Their concealed feeding behavior increases pesticide use and resistance, adding cost beyond the field. Across commercial agriculture, leaf miners contribute quietly to tiny bugs' big damage statistics year after year. Level 6, Whiteflies. What starts as a light sheen on leaves quickly turns into systemic crop stress. Whiteflies overwhelm crops through numbers, not size. They spread fast and drain plants slowly. Sticky residue coats leaves before the insects become obvious. Whiteflies complete life cycles in 18 to 25 days, allowing rapid population growth in warm climates and protected environments. They extract sap from cotton, vegetables, and ornamentals while transmitting more than 100 plant viruses. Virus spread often causes greater losses than feeding damage alone, wiping out entire plots within weeks. Global agriculture absorbs billions of dollars in losses annually due to whitefly activity. Their resistance to multiple treatments keeps them central among destructive insects driving persistent crop failure. Level 7. Spider mites. These mites thrive when conditions turn harsh. Spider mites explode during heat and drought. Fields lose flexibility and color during heat waves, even under correct irrigation. Spider mites exploit dry conditions, puncturing plant cells and extracting fluids. Females produce up to 20 eggs per day, allowing explosive population growth. Photosynthesis drops by up to 50%, cutting yields across vegetables, fruits, cotton, and ornamental plants. Leaf surfaces become brittle, reducing plant recovery even after treatment. Greenhouse operations report repeated shutdowns after outbreaks. Resistance to miticides forces constant chemical rotation, increasing costs and reinforcing long-term bug infestations across climates. Pause for a moment and think about it. Have you actually seen a spider mite in real life? Comment below. Level 8. Aphids. Aphids overwhelm plants through speed alone. They multiply faster than crops can recover. Colonies appear almost overnight, coating stems and leaves in dense clusters. Aphids reproduce rapidly, often without mating, allowing one individual to generate dozens of offspring within a single week. They drain sap and transmit over 200 plant viruses affecting wheat, corn, potatoes, soybeans, and fruit trees. Virus transmission multiplies damage far beyond feeding alone, spreading loss across entire regions. Global estimates place aphid-related damage in the tens of billions of dollars every year, combining yield loss, virus management, and chemical control. Their reach defines how bugs explain discussions begin in agriculture. Level 9. Thrips. Thrips damage plants early and relentlessly. Surface scars reduce crop value before harvest begins. Thrips measure less than 1/10 of an inch, yet cause wide-scale damage through feeding and virus transmission. Onions, peppers, strawberries, and ornamental crops suffer yield losses exceeding 30% during severe outbreaks. Greenhouse systems face repeated disruption as thrips adapt quickly to treatments and re-enter through imported plant material. Their movement through international trade ensures constant reinfestation, cementing their role in global insect destruction. Level 10. Termites. Most owners never see the damage until something gives way. Termites work unseen until damage turns serious. Structures weaken silently long before visible signs appear. Termites operate in colonies reaching millions of individuals, consuming wood, paper, and plant-based materials without pause. Global damage exceeds $100 billion every year, with the United States alone spending over $5 billion annually on prevention and repair. Damage often remains hidden until beams, floors, or foundations lose integrity. Beyond homes, termites affect crops, forests, and soil systems. Their combined impact on agriculture and infrastructure places them firmly near the top of tiny bugs' big damage rankings worldwide. Before we move to the next, take a moment to like and subscribe to Critterology for more clear breakdowns of unseen threats around us. Level 11. Bark beetles. These insects reshape entire landscapes without ever touching crops directly. Bark beetles attack trees from the inside, cutting off life support before damage becomes visible from the outside. Forests begin to thin quietly. Needles fade, bark loosens, and entire slopes shift color within a single season. Most bark beetles measure only 3 to 6 millimeters, yet outbreaks spread across vast regions. They burrow beneath the bark to lay eggs, carving tunnels that block water and nutrient flow. A single female lays 60 to 90 eggs, and warm conditions allow populations to grow unchecked. Trees die standing, which increases wildfire fuel and weakens soil stability. Once an outbreak takes hold, recovery can take decades. In North America alone, bark beetles have destroyed forests covering more than 40 million acres. Economic losses tied to timber collapse, fire control, and reforestation reach tens of billions of dollars. Their damage extends beyond trees, altering ecosystems, wildlife habitats, and regional climate balance. Level 12. Wireworms, click beetle larvae. Wireworms live underground for years, feeding on roots, seeds, and developing plants before farmers know anything is wrong. They are the larvae of click beetles and measure up to an inch long, with hard, segmented bodies built for burrowing. Wireworms attack corn, wheat, potatoes, barley, and vegetables by drilling directly into seeds and roots. Crops fail to emerge, or plants collapse weeks after planting. Because larvae remain in soil for 2 to 5 years, infestations persist season after season. Yield losses regularly reach 20 to 50%, with some fields suffering near total failure. Chemical control is difficult because wireworms stay deep underground. Global losses linked to wireworms reach billions of dollars annually, especially in temperate farming regions. Their long life cycle and hidden feeding place them among the most damaging underground crop pests worldwide. Level 13, Armyworms. The timeline here is measured in hours, not seasons. Armyworms destroy crops through sudden, overwhelming force. They move as dense feeding fronts, consuming vegetation non-stop as they advance. Fields can appear healthy in the evening and stripped bare by morning. Individual larvae reach 1.5 inches, but the damage comes from numbers, not size. Outbreaks can involve millions of larvae per square kilometer, wiping out corn, wheat, rice, and pasture grass in days. Farmers often report complete crop loss within 48 to 72 hours during severe infestations. Once feeding begins, control options become limited. As climate patterns shift, armyworm outbreaks expand into new regions. Their speed and scale make them one of the clearest examples of tiny bugs' big damage across global agriculture. Level 14, Weevils. These insects destroy food after harvest, not in the field. Weevils attack stored grain by laying eggs directly inside intact kernels. Adults measure 2 to 6 millimeters. Yet larvae hollow crops from the inside before emerging. A single female lays up to 400 eggs, allowing infestations to explode inside silos, warehouses, and storage rooms. Wheat, rice, maize, and beans suffer the heaviest losses. Contaminated grain often cannot be salvaged. In some regions, weevils account for 20 to 30% of total stored grain loss, contributing heavily to food waste and economic strain. Their impact is strongest where storage conditions are warm and humid. Level 15, Scale insects. Scale insects attach themselves to stems and leaves, forming hard protective coverings that make them difficult to detect and treat. Most species measure under 1/4 of an inch, yet infestations can persist for years. They drain sap continuously, reducing plant vigor over time. Leaves drop early, branches weaken, and fruit production declines. Citrus groves, olive farms, and ornamental nurseries experience yield losses of 20 to 50% when infestations remain untreated. Their protective coating limits treatment effectiveness, allowing populations to spread through plant trade. Scale insects remain a long-term pressure on agriculture worldwide. Level 16, Agricultural fruit flies. Perfect skins hide destruction that starts from the inside. Agricultural fruit flies lay eggs beneath the skin of fruit, where larvae feed unseen. Adults measure less than half an inch, yet their reproductive capacity makes them extremely destructive. A single female can lay hundreds of eggs, and larvae destroy fruit within days. Infestations trigger quarantine zones, export bans, and large-scale crop destruction to prevent spread. Global fruit fly damage costs billions of dollars annually, affecting both food supply and international trade. Even small outbreaks can shut down entire export markets. Level 17, Fire ants. These small bugs turn soil into a hostile environment. Fire ants build dense underground colonies that disrupt roots, equipment, and wildlife. Workers measure up to 1/4 of an inch, yet colonies reach hundreds of thousands. They damage crops, kill young livestock, and destroy electrical systems by nesting inside equipment. Agricultural yields decline while repair and control costs rise sharply. Economic losses linked to fire ants exceed $6 billion per year, spreading across farming, infrastructure, and ecosystems on multiple continents. Level 18, Locust nymphs. Mass movement begins before flight is even possible. Locust nymphs move in marching bands, feeding constantly as they grow. Each nymph consumes its body weight in vegetation every day. As they mature, swarms can contain billions of individuals, stripping grasslands, crops, and forests bare. Entire regions experience food shortages, livestock losses, and long recovery periods after outbreaks. Their impact directly affects human survival, placing them among the most severe drivers of insect-related destruction. Level 19, Mosquito larvae. These insects cause damage long before they reach adulthood. Mosquito larvae develop in standing water, feeding continuously until they mature. Development completes in 7 to 14 days, depending on temperature. Beyond disease, their ecological impact comes from sheer population volume. Larvae alter aquatic food systems and fuel massive adult populations that disrupt ecosystems. Globally, mosquito-related damage reaches hundreds of billions of dollars, driven by health costs, lost productivity, and environmental disruption. Level 20, Emerald Ash Borer. The beetle looks decorative, which is exactly why it spreads unnoticed. The emerald ash borer is a small, metallic green beetle measuring just a touch above half an inch, often mistaken for a harmless leaf beetle. Its damage, however, is unmatched. Larvae tunnel beneath the bark of ash trees, cutting off water and nutrient flow. Trees weaken slowly, showing thinning canopies and cracked bark before sudden death. Once infestation begins, most trees die within 2 to 4 years. There is no natural resistance in many ash species. Since its spread began, the emerald ash borer has killed over 100 million ash trees across North America. Economic damage exceeds $30 billion, including tree removal, replacement, and lost ecosystem services. Entire forests, urban canopies, and wildlife habitats collapse silently. It does not sting. It does not bite. It does not invade homes. Yet no insect on this list has destroyed more trees while appearing so harmless. Small bugs create damage most people never see until it is too late. Subscribe now for more clear, grounded breakdowns that reveal what hides beneath everyday surfaces and systems worldwide.